Hello, I hope everyone's having a refreshing morning. I'll be reading the paper Gender, Pilgrimage, and Power, Women Pilgrims in Bodh Gaya by Dr. Mitashree Srivastava, who was unfortunately unable to join us today. As a Buddhist pilgrimage center and a UNESCO-declared World Heritage Site, every year Bodh Gaya witnesses a heavy influx of national, international, and transnational pilgrims and religious tourists. This includes Buddhist women, both monastics and lay women, for whom pilgrimage serves as a rite of passage. Their liminal experiences of being a pilgrim add to their quest of seeking belonging in the male-dominated ritual space of Bodh Gaya. My paper argues that Buddhist women pilgrims are being marginalized when it comes to their visibility and representation in the religious landscape of Bodh Gaya. The sacred complex of Bodh Gaya includes sacred geography, sacred performances, and sacred specialization, in which women's participation is limited, especially in institutional realms. Bodh Gaya has more than 24 international monasteries in its sacred geography, with male monks acting as sacred specialists, head monks, or head priests. Women are rarely seen to occupy any positions of power. Women's leadership in Bodh Gaya derives its strength from the motivation and goals of the transnational women pilgrims who cross borders to reach Bodh Gaya to experience Buddhism and contribute to the shaping of Buddhism in Bodh Gaya. In postmodern times, the meaning of pilgrimage has changed for women. Pilgrimage in modern times serves as a symbolic event, a window into the social, cultural, political, and economic opportunities available, in which women may express themselves and decide on aspects of their freedom and mobility. Pilgrimage is an active performance where women pilgrims engage with meaningful activities to rediscover their religious identity. It is important to understand the ways in which transnational Buddhist women pilgrims differ from regular pilgrims. In comparison to national pilgrims, the transnational women pilgrims are ready to experience the ritual space of Bodh Gaya in a more innovative capacity. This ethnographic study focuses on the collection of life histories and narratives collected during my anthropological fieldwork in Bodh Gaya. The study focuses on the following questions. Who are these transnational women pilgrims? What are their personal beliefs, motivations, and goals? How do these Buddhist women pilgrims exert their agency, claims, and rights in the sacred complex of Bodh Gaya? And why do a few women pilgrims decide to remain in Bodh Gaya for the rest of their lives? Considering the precarity that runs as an undercurrent in the lives of women pilgrims, I use a reflexive stance while interacting, interviewing, and collecting life histories of Buddhist women pilgrims in Bodh Gaya. Scholar Edwin Ng suggests that the life of an academic is also a profession of faith. In my case, a brief encounter with Buddhism occurred in the year 2007 when I first visited Bodh Gaya. My anthropological fieldwork in Bodh Gaya gave me an opportunity to come face to face with a tribe I could call my own. A set of fearless Buddhist women that included mystics, wanderers, and renunciants who shared with me their life histories, their experiences with Buddhism, and their perspectives on the struggles and opportunities of transnational women pilgrims in India. My first informant, Shantimati, 50 years of age, did not reveal her real name. She received her fictitious name from Baba Muktamanda at Siddhananda Samadhi in Maharashtra in 1982 at an ashram in Ganeshpuri, India. She recalled, "I'm a French citizen. I had come to India 20 years back and visited Ganeshpuri in Maharashtra. I was a single woman then and had just completed my 5 years at a French university studying scriptures and philosophy. I was a Christian by birth, but didn't believe in any religion as such because I always believed that God didn't create any religion. Every religion was a byproduct of the human mind. At the young age of 21, I met with a deadly accident which changed my entire outlook towards life and made me realize the very purpose in life. I had several questions in my mind pertaining to human life. Where do we originate from, and where do we go? Before my accident, I was a beautiful woman, and I had several admirers. After the accident, my face was smashed and my beauty was lost. One single accident changed the way I perceived my own body, my beauty, my own self. It was then I oriented myself to Eastern religions and their philosophies, aiming to find answers in the Vedas and mantras. However, even after a continuous search, I failed to get any concrete answers. Then I turned towards Buddhism, particularly relying on Buddhist meditation. Reading scriptures helped me develop a positive psychology and build positive consciousness. However, regular meditation morning and evening helped me experience life in a different capacity. Meditation helps me gain a different sensation altogether and helps me even in distancing problems and then observing them. This helps in seeking solutions to problems in an objective manner. I have a great fondness for dogs. Every single occasion when she was in Bodh Gaya, she would feed the dog Bodhipala. Feeding stray dogs served as a way of healing, the purpose of a pilgrimage. This was her third visit to Bodh Gaya. She also planned to go to Nepal. My second informant, Gaia, was a Chinese woman, 34 years of age. She stated, "My name means the earth in Greek. I am visiting Bodh Gaya for the first time, and I am on a pilgrimage to Bodh Gaya, the land of enlightenment. I stay in the Mahabodhi Society complex and spend much of my time in the Vipassana Meditation Center. I was born in China, but spent most of my childhood in Berkeley, California, where I obtained a degree in communications and journalism. I have also worked as an auditor and journalist in America and a trader in China. I plan to visit the ashram of Amritananda in Kerala once my Bodh Gaya pilgrimage is completed. Buddhist meditation gives me a sense of freedom. I feel like flying in the sky and floating in the air as I meditate. My ultimate goal in life is the Buddha. I have a rigorous meditation schedule from morning to evening while I am at Bodh Gaya, but I also want to travel and see other Buddhist sites in the world. However, Bodh Gaya is my favorite destination, as it is perhaps the only place in the world where people understand my language. My ultimate goal, only Buddha knows. I am deeply interested in environmental campaigns and planet protection." She suggested that Buddhist women can engage with ecofeminist philosophies and help save the planet. Sitting under Bo tree, I feel it is caged within golden boundaries. It needs to be free. It needs to breathe just like us. My third informant was a 20-year-old girl from Vietnam who preferred to remain anonymous. She stated, "This is my second visit to Bodh Gaya. This time, I have come with a plan to study Buddhism at Bodh Gaya and also to pray beneath the Bodhi tree. I reside in the Vietnam temple and have a plan to visit Vaishali after completing my stay in Bodh Gaya. I will spend 3 more years in India learning Buddhism as a student. Then I will probably return to my own country to become a Buddhist nun." Buddhist nuns get less funding and sponsorship for education than monks. My gray robe attracts the young local interpreters. I know little English and therefore I find it difficult to communicate with the locals. My fifth informant was a 22-year-old Pang Young-hee from Korea. She related, "I am a Christian by birth, but a great believer in Buddhism. I am interested in the teachings of the Buddha, and am deeply inspired by the Buddhist meditation practice of Vipassana. Vipassana is a beautiful meditation technique. For 10 days, one gets to practice noble silence where one isn't allowed to read, write, or communicate. My stay in the Bhutan monastery gave me some opportunities to interact with other pilgrims. My ultimate aim is to discover insight and live the life of a divine. This is my first visit to Bodh Gaya. I will stay at Bodh Gaya for 1 day, and thereafter I plan to go to Bangladesh to learn about women's power in ASEAN countries. Not for any research purpose, but just for my knowledge and interest. I believe that women can play a great role in NGOs by offering services and gifts to children. I have a plan to open a non-governmental organization one day, which will serve as a hostel for helpless street children in Bodh Gaya. I want to visit the Sujata Kuti, and I am eager to learn Hindi." My sixth informant, Aoife, was an Irish woman. She was Christian by birth, but was interested in exploring Buddhism in India. In her words, "When I came to India, I realized that the roots of Buddhism as religion are deep, and the roots of its philosophy are shallow. Rituals have no foundations. Donations or charity are controversial issues, as the dana doesn't reach the locals or the authorities. Skyrocketing monasteries stand tall next to the impoverished slums. Beggars block our way. Rickshaw pullers charge a lot of money. Maybe it's a survival tactic, but it is unethical. Women pilgrims and religious tourists at times are even teased and harassed by the locals. The environment is unsafe. The roads are dirty, mosquitoes are bothersome, and the government takes no cognizance of it. I plan to visit other sacred places in India, but I wonder what the conditions of women's safety will be there. Transnational women pilgrims remain poorly represented. My seventh informant was a Nepalese pilgrim who preferred to be called a rebel. In her words, I was born in a backward caste community of India and later migrated to Nepal. My entire lifetime, I've been dealing with gender discrimination at both the personal and professional levels and have faced casteist comments. Buddhism inspired me to follow the Buddha as he allowed women to join the Sangha. Baba Saheb Ambedkar vouches for the empowerment of women. In my opinion, be it Bodh Gaya or any other land, women have to take care of themselves, for the world is not fair and neutral. By the time we women undergo emotional and physical harassment, it is already too late. In India, crimes against women are on a rise, and Bodh Gaya is no exception. Wandering in Bodh Gaya or settling in Bodh Gaya as a nun in any monastic institution is not a safe option. Indian women have limited choices when it comes to deciding on a spiritual career for themselves. Pilgrimage provides a means of liberation as women need to connect. Women's empowerment can happen in a country like India, where religion and religious identity is more a political agenda nowadays. She was perhaps hinting at what Sen suggests. Shared Buddhist identity is important in constructing and sustaining cross-border networking and is crucial in understanding the Buddhist world. Precarity runs as an undercurrent in the lives of women, reflected in the subjective experiences, life histories, individual and collective narratives, and testimonials of many Buddhist women pilgrims. Bodh Gaya is a male-dominated ritual space where women have limited choices to participate in the activities within Bodh Gaya's sacred complex. Transnational Buddhist pilgrimage in Bodh Gaya can serve as a means of giving a voice to women as a community when it comes to their religious choices, aspirations, and dreams. There is barely the presence of any monastery for women in Bodh Gaya. Many transnational women pilgrims are renunciants who prefer traveling miles to come to Bodh Gaya, crossing borders only to attend their spiritual calling, with the aim of sitting under the Bodhi tree to contemplate the mysteries of life. Religious studies scholar Ellison Banks Finley mentions that historically, there are at least 4 areas in which Buddhist women have found obstacles in their spiritual lives. These areas are religious practices, that is, lifestyle customs, instructional opportunities, meditational forms, and institutional structures, many of which are routinely available to laymen and monks, but are infrequently available to women and nuns. Second, as far as disciplinary rules are concerned, women are treated as second-class citizens. Third, although women by doctrine are fully capable of experiencing enlightenment, the recognition of that highest experience in terms of titles and experiences are withheld from them at various points in history. Fourth, female renunciants have at many times in Buddhist history been denied the material support that male renunciants have received. Buddhism in its multiple forms has become a transnational phenomenon characterized by the formation of extensive networks connecting religious specialists, disciples, centers of practice and study, and pilgrimage sites across the globe. Transnational Buddhism is perhaps more privileged in scope than global Buddhism and globalization. However, power structures at the levels of regions and countries influence the way discourses are generated about transnational Buddhist communities. In a developing country like India, with highly patriarchal, stratified social structures, there are concerns about how transnational Buddhist women pilgrims are perceived and how these transnational women pilgrims use concepts of power, ethics, and aesthetics to create meaning in their lives. Recording and archiving the voices and memories of transnational women pilgrims become all the more necessary for constructing an authentic historiography of the sacred complex of Bodh Gaya, one that takes into account the participation of women in understanding Buddhism in Bodh Gaya. India presently has barely any transnational Buddhist women's network. Considering the role that Buddhism plays in the soft power politics of our nation, it will be quite rewarding to acknowledge transnational Buddhist women's roles in constructing a dynamic ritual space for themselves in Bodh Gaya. This brings us to the end of the paper. Thank you so much for listening.